the Premier League power brokers. The transfer window is clicking into gear as the managers, sporting directors and chief executives of the Premier League's top clubs launch their best-laid plans to attract some of Europe's finest and most desirable footballers. But the transfer market's movers and shakers are themselves answerable to a higher power, a select group of extremely wealthy men from around the world who will sign off on every deal, from a personal assortment of plush mansions, private planes and luxury yachts. It is the owners of the Premier League giants that represent the power and financial muscle behind the hard-faced negotiators, and, even if they generally prefer to remain unseen, all will be keeping a close eye on what impact their senior employees' actions have on the fortunes of their teams as well as their bottom lines. The classic example can be found at Chelsea, where Roman Abramovich has come to symbolize the billionaire era of English football. According to former Blues sporting director Frank Ars, the Russian college dropout turned oil magnate didn't know a lot about the game when he paid Ken Bates £140 million to take over at Stamford Bridge in July 2003, and he has sought counsel from a close circle of trusted advisors including renowned Dutch scout Piet de Visser ever since. He is also obsessive in his bid to expand his knowledge of the beautiful game, and those who have been invited on board his 557-foot private yacht Eclipse, the largest on the planet, for over 3 years until April 2013, speak of TV screens trained on football matches from all over the world. Stamford Bridge is well accustomed to his presence even for Chelsea's increasingly regular FA Youth Cup final appearances. When he does fly around the world attending to his myriad business interests, Abramovich's eyes and ears at Chelsea are Marina Graovskaya, the former PA who has risen to become the club's de facto chief executive, while technical director Michael Emilo is the primary line of communication to boss Jose Mourinho. A lull in the club's infamous sacking model with the return of the special one has further ended Abramovich to Chelsea fans, of whom the vast majority are happy to overlook the shady origins of his vast wealth. It helps that some 12 years and over £1 billion of investment later, the Russian has turned their club into a European powerhouse, and a sustainable one at that. The scale of Abramovich's financial contribution is rivaled only by Manchester City owner Sheikh Massoud bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Deputy Prime Minister of the United Arab Emirates and member of the ruling family of Abu Dhabi, estimated to possess a collective fortune of almost £100 billion. As well as bankrolling a squad that has lifted 2 Premier League titles in the last 4 seasons, Massoud's money has built the shiny and sprawling 80-acre Etihad campus in a deprived corner of East Manchester and placed City at the centre of an innovative international portfolio of clubs under the City Football Group umbrella. The owner's fingerprints are everywhere, despite only visiting the Etihad Stadium once in the 7 years since his takeover. Massoud leaves the day-to-day running of City Football Group to us-educated Khaldu Al-Mubarak, whose job it will be to scrutinize the efforts of Chief Executive Ferris Aurial, Director of Football Tzaki Begiristai and Manager Manuel Pellegrini this summer after a disappointing season. Stan Kroenke is another believer in the hands-off approach to ownership, both with Arsenal and his American sports franchises, an impressive list that includes the St. Louis Rams of the NFL, Colorado Avalanche of the NHL and Denver Nuggets of the NBA. Long-serving Chief Executive Ivan Gazidis is trusted to oversee the daily operations at Highbury House in Ajaccio with RC Widger, but Kroenke maintains a close working relationship, scheduling regular conference calls, travelling to London for every board meeting and attending matches. He took in Saturday's FA Cup final win over Aston Villa at Wembley and participated in the celebrations afterwards, though he was not on the bus as the players paraded the trophy in North London the following day. Kroenke's son Josh was also appointed a non-executive director of Arsenal in December 2013. The 35-year-old looks set to one day inherit his father's 67% stake and continue to frustrate Moscow-based metal magnate Alisher Usmayov, who still does not have a seat on the board despite controlling 29.95% through Red and White Holdings. Whether Kroek will find owning Arsenal quite so easy once Widger finally leaves is another matter. Countryman Joel and Avram Glazer know all too well the perils of attempting to replace an all-time great manager, even if Louis van Gaal has begun to steady the Manchester United ship in the wake of David Moyes' disastrous tenure. The arrival of Van Gaal has once again allowed Executive Vice Chairman Ed Woodward to concentrate fully on the aggressive commercial expansion that has characterized the Glazer era at Old Trafford, as they seek to service the very debt that deceased father Malcolm loaded onto the club in 2005, a figure most recently listed as £380.5 million. Woodward pursues lucrative new partnerships from United's commercial office in Mayfair and holds quarterly conference calls with investors ever since the Glazers floated the club on the New York Stock Exchange in August 2012. Despite that move, Malcolm Glazer's 6 children retain just over 83% of all important Class B ordinary shares, giving them almost total decision-making power at board level. Joel and Avram make relatively frequent trips to Old Trafford, while Joel is also a co-chairman of the Glazer family's other major sports venture, NFL team Tampa Bay Buccaneers. John W. Henry is a less common face at Anfield as his fewer sports group juggle ownership of Liverpool with baseball giants the Boston Red Sox and several other sports ventures. His last visit was in February, taking in a 3-2 home win over Tottenham and setting the wheels in motion for significant expansion of the stadium's main stand. It was FSG chairman Tom Werner and president Mike Gordon who travelled to Merseyside to conduct Brendan Rodgers' end-of-season review this week, and all the signs are that Gordon will continue to take a leading role. He is, by far, FSG America's most knowledgeable person with regard to soccer and is involved on the football side daily in constant communication with the members of our football committee and our manager, Henry told the Boston Globe of Gordon last year.